I'm going to work through a couple of little projects that I have today related to Tabletop Simulator and to the development environment in Unity. I'm not really doing anything fancy, but I am going to take a couple of figurines or miniatures that I have purchased on Unity Asset Store, and I'm going to compile them as asset bundles and get them in a Tabletop Simulator and just save them in some of my folders there for later use. So if you have not ever done that before, I'm going to walk through a couple of the steps, and if anyone joins the live stream, I'll be glad to take questions and try to answer the best I can. I am by no means an expert, so it is likely that you may ask questions that I don't have the answers to, but we're going to go ahead and give it a whirl. Okay, so I typically work in my working project in Unity. I'm not going to explain how to download Unity, but I mean, you could just simple Google search download Unity. It is not that difficult to do. But you could, when you get to Unity, you could do a new project. And then if you do a new project, use the build that you want. I typically use the most recent long-term support build. So in installs folder, you can see that there are a couple of versions of Unity that I have. One's a pretty recent one, the long-term support build of 2020. I'm using the 2019 long-term support because that does seem to be more cross-supported, particularly with Tabletop Simulator. So the projects that I'm using, I'll use that 2019 version. There's also a Tabletop Simulator modding bill or like a project. If you want that, it's got good scripts in it, and I'll show you what I mean by that. So if you go to Tabletop Simulator, you can just Google it. Tabletop Simulator GitHub. There you go. On this Tabletop Simulator modding Git, there is just a project basically. If you download it, you could just open it straight as a project in Unity. And when you download this and you open it, and I'll do it just for fun. When you do it, in your downloads, now there is a Tabletop Simulator modding master. And if I actually wanted to, I could just go to add a project in Unity and go find that download Asset Studio master. The one that this one right here. And I could press open on that, and it would add a project called Tabletop Simulator Modding Master to my Unity projects. And then it would just work on the project that I had just downloaded from GitHub. I'm not going to do that because that's equivalent of what I have right here already. So this Tabletop Simulator Modding Master, I just downloaded it and then opened it in Unity, and now it's one of my current projects. There are a couple of reasons why I do that, but for now I'm not using it. But it has a lot of the scripts that Tabletop Simulator has written for you to be able to do asset bundle effects. Right now, I'm going to open my my project, and it's loading right now. Unity Manager. I'm going to minimize that. Okay. Once this loads, I will try to walk through a couple of examples. And one of the things that I use a lot, because I'm not a very talented artist, is I use purchased assets from the asset store. And it really is just dependent on your price range, right? How much money you want to spend. You can find assets out there for a couple of bucks that are really, really good. You can also spend hundreds of dollars, $400, $500, to buy assets that are also amazing, but just way outside of my price range or interest level. This is a hobby for me, um, but we're waiting on Unity to load, so that's why it's taken a little bit of time. But I'm going to show you all some of the assets that I like, and how to search them and how to download them into your, download and import them into your Unity environment, and then how to get them into tabletop. So this is going to take a little bit of seconds to get here. All right, here we go. I do think I also have some music. I'll turn on some royalty-free tunes to make it a little bit more entertaining. Let's see if I have them. It's a pretty cool resource that I like. It's called Tabletop Audio. Tabletop Audio has a lot of, it's royalty free, and you can just, let's see, I'm going to play this one. You could also save them. So like if I wanted the Secret Facility music and ambiance, I could just download that file. And then I'm just going to play it. Let's see, it should play. Not playing properly. That's okay. Okay, there you go. I may turn it down a little bit. Okay, so now we've got a little bit of background music. And you all might not have that. Let's see if I can bring the desktop audio into the recording. I don't think y'all are going to be able to hear my music right now, and that's okay. Well, it's entertaining for me. Okay, so let's get back to the task at hand. Okay, so here we are at the just the last scene that I was using in my Unity work, and it's actually a robot scene that I was working in, so you can kind of see. I'm using my scroll wheel mouse, and when I move across like this, I'm pressing my scroll wheel and just holding it and moving it. I think you can also right click, hold right click, and I'm moving the mouse as I would hold and right click. This is very similar to Tabletop Simulator's controls. This is just a nice little scene that works. And to kind of see if there are any innate animations on these objects, I just press play. Oh, I've got some compiler errors down here. I'm having some problems with this collab proxy, and there's another text mesh when I have that problem. For now, until I know any better, I just go and delete those packets because I don't know what to do else. So this text mesh pro is not working, so I'm deleting it. and then collab proxy is not working. So I'm deleting that as well. And then in just a minute, these package errors will go away. You'll see what I mean. So it's updating now that I've deleted these packages. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are checking out what Brennell's doing in Tabletop Simulator mod, but it's pretty amazing stuff. I just see in the Discord that he is posting some pretty cool artwork for a game that he's leading. It's just outstanding. Check it out if you haven't had a chance to. Okay, and once this is done, you can see now I do have some errors, but not any breaks or stop errors. Okay, so I'm going to press play up here at the top of the screen, and you'll be able to see some of the animations of these little robots. And these are just built-in animations. I bought this as an asset pack, working on something with Amaraka, and something that he's using for the Game Nights game. But this, if you're not familiar with it, is in the asset store. So when you go to Unity, and I'll bring it up on the screen. When you go to Unity, you can just go to the asset store. And if you're logged in, you can go out and just search for anything you want, right? And if you want to find robots, you can. And as I was saying, there are some pretty good assets out here that are cheap. And you can kind of search according to your appetite. Let's say I don't want to spend more than $5. And then I just do this, and it's going to filter down all the assets that it shows me, and it will be no more than $5. I've already purchased a robot pack, but I could just go through and then actually just find what I want. I could also filter on Unity versions, like if I want to hold and make sure I'm using a compatible version, I could. I already know that I've got what I need here. So when I have my own assets that I have purchased, I just go to my assets, and I can see all the different assets that I have. This little bot thing is the most recent that I have purchased. You can press open in Unity right here, and it will open it, but also you can go to the asset store tab of your Unity program, and once it's a little slower, but I have found in older versions of Unity it works a little better for me to be able to import things directly here. You can see it's connecting to the asset store, and I already have this in, but I already have this asset imported into my project. But I do want to show you how it works. I think I will. Hey, bro, I think I see you on the community chat. Good to see you, man. Well, it's taking a little bit longer than I want to. So while this is loading, I'm going to keep working on the scene that I had. So if I go back to the scene, I have, let's say this little scrolly bot, this one right here. That's the one that I want. That's a Spidey bot. Again, be very clear. I didn't make this. I bought it. And when I opened a scene, so the pack that I bought was this MLX bots. And I just opened an example scene. So let's just do that as if I was opening it for the first time. Okay, so I opened the example scene, and I now have this little Spidey bot. And it's already got what's called a controller and an avatar. And I'm going to say apply root motion. And if I actually want to see the animator on it, it's pretty simple. But I like it. So let's say I want to make a copy of that and use it in my game. It is really this simple. So you click on it, bring it down. I'm going to put it in a prefabs folder, or I'll just put it straight here. It doesn't really matter. And it asks me if I want to make a prefab of this, and I will say yes. So now I have a prefab of the SpiderBot asset. And you can see it over here in the corner. Now, if I were to go do a new scene and not save this, but just bring the SpiderBot in, there's the SpiderBot, and it has the animation on it. I haven't put any animations on it. I'm just straight taking the asset as it is. So if I press play on this right now, see it's doing a little bit of its animation because that's its kind of its root state. I'm going to take that and I'm going to come over to asset bundles, and I will make a new one and call this SpiderBot. Okay. I also have some other things that I was working on. I'm going to go ahead and remove those because I don't like having other assets making when I do my build asset bundles. So I like to go through and just turn them all off. And I had some others in another advanced people pack that I was working on, I think. No worries. I'll worry about that later. So now back in my prefabs, in my SpiderBots, that's already at SpiderBot. Now, anywhere on the screen, if you right click and build asset bundles, this will create an asset bundle that is in, this actually doesn't have a file extension, but you can add one. Earlier versions of Unity would actually asset bundle to the Unity 3D asset file extension. This little trick, getting a build asset bundle menu option, requires scripts, and I'll talk about that in just a second. But for right now, I'm going to do build asset bundles.
Which version are you using of Unity?
It's the 2019 long-term support.
Okay, they just released 2019.4.24 for the latest version of Tabletop Simulator.
Really?
Yeah.
Do I have that in my projects? Maybe I do, and I'm just using an older one. Because when I look at this, no, I'm still using the 20.
Yeah, they've gone up to 24. And it works, but it'll throw you an error every time you build an asset bundle, but it works perfectly. It's a versioning error. That's absolutely all it is.
So when I do this, I have to go and find my games folder, and SpiderBot is here, and it's a pretty small asset. And I'm going to add the .unity 3D. So now, adding Unity 3D, I can bring that into Tabletop Simulator.
I don't need to do that.
Yeah. So maybe it's a Mac problem. I thought, like it when it does the. I have an older version of when I use the older version that I downloaded from the Tabletop Simulator mod on Git. It does the extension for me. I've noticed that. Maybe it's the script. I wrote this script on this one. On this build of Unity that I'm using, whereas on Tabletop's Simulator, Tabletop's Unity build, I just used the one that they wrote.
Now that's interesting, and the reason that's it. Hiya, Mog. And goodbye. No, he's still here. He's just gone quiet. So I built that. Be careful with that. The build asset bundle also looks intelligently at all materials and removes them if they're already duplicated in another asset bundle. Therefore, enables you in the second slot of asset bundles to have a common asset bundle for all textures, therefore saving huge amounts of space, potentially. And that's built into their build asset bundle, from what I understand. And I've noticed it works. I mean, as I've tested it, and I found that it removed, because I've got something that allows me to investigate asset bundles, and it will remove those. So
So
I checked
basically,
that.
me using my own, I'm probably taking up a lot more space.
You're losing that functionality. I don't know whether you're taking up a lot more space. I don't know whether you're duplicating textures or materials.
Yeah. By not using the TTS mods, build asset, make asset bundles. There's probably that functionality that I'm losing. That's probably true because mine clearly isn't as good. I've actually thought about just copying their scripts over to my project that I'm using, and then I just haven't done it yet.
It's worth doing because there's some other tricks they're pulling in there as well.
So when sorry.
No, I was just going to say it's so funny seeing everything in white. I'm used to it all in black now. I've moved all of my themes over to black. Yeah, and also on a Mac as well, because everything looks kind of different on a Mac. It's really weird. It's the same stuff, and I can see the same stuff happening. It's not what I expect. If that makes sense, you have to mentally follow it while you're doing it.
Just a different perspective. And I don't know if you all see anything different. I have two monitor setups, and I think it doesn't matter because I'm only sharing my primary screen. But in Tabletop Simulator, I now have the whole where I can look at certain things on the spectator screen. And so in my upcoming streams, I'm gonna share my spectator screen, and then I have a little. I didn't build this; I just found it. I have it to where I can use buttons to follow certain characters, and I think that's kind of cool. So, like when I have, I'm jumping around topics, but there's a mod in Tabletop that allows you to zoom or look at certain objects. And I'll just load it because it was a spectator test here. So this thing allows you to script keys, and so if I press on 3, it's gonna let me go straight to the little turret that I have done, and if I do 5, it's gonna take me to this object, and my spectator screen, because of that auto exec update, my spectator screen is following those different moves. So throughout the games that I live stream, I'm gonna do different scripting key presses, and so right now it's a car that I've put the camera focus on, or it's this tank that I've put the camera focus on, but in my game it will be the miniatures of the players, so that whenever I scripting key 2, it will go to Wild Thing, or scripting key 5, it will go to wherever Cypher is on the table, and the camera will follow them wherever they are on the table.
There's an interesting thing I looked at originally when I wrote the mod. Fundamentally, you can get headless TTS servers, which can generate imagery in theory. And you can run them on some fairly low spec machines in theory. My plan was to attach one of those with a camera on every single individual in the game.
Yeah.
So you're capturing live footage from every perspective, every angle. That whole slow-mo trick.
Yeah.
And then just basically have all these headless boxes just constantly generating imagery. And then you can cut and frame and do whatever you want on the YouTube or movie build afterwards.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool.
And the logs directly being generated out of the back end of the mod contain all the roles and information about what's being done at that exact second on the time code. So my aim was to live time code stream that back in. So you'd show what dice people were rolling, what activities they were taking, the whole thing down on the bottom of the screen as text.
Wow. So. That's really cool.
No, there's a lot behind the build. We never got that far. Never realised it. It's all built to do it. I just never did it.
Yeah.
You're quiet in the background, Scott. Have you actually got your mic working or not?
I think he's muted.
It was muted.
Yeah, you're not now, are you? We've got you now.
We pressured you into the
Yes.
conversation.
Yeah, I've basically been pinned to the chair by a cat, so I can't really do anything.
Well, there's nothing wrong
Well,
with
now
that.
two cats now.
Yeah. Um, it's good to see you bringing stuff in. At some point, we should most probably do something about. Oh, that looks really cool with the spider asset,
Yeah,
spider bot.
I like it a lot. This is a little project I'm working on for Emrak. Actually, his character in Game Night's world is kind of a bot builder type of person, and I have another one that I've made for him. I put it under people, and he's not a people, but where is it at? Stevie V2. So this is Stevie, and I've actually added some scripts for him so that it's like a charging, and then it's like he uses electricity in the game, which I think is cool. I'm doing him as looping effects right now. I don't know why. I guess I could do triggers, but this is my favorite one of that. So it's like, you know, lots of
That's
electricity.
really good.
And again, I didn't make it. I got the asset bundles and particle effects. So that if anybody doesn't have the talent but has $5 or $10, I mean, you can do it.
Yeah.
That's the way it should work.
Yeah. So this little guy, if I wanted to do more with him, and I'm actually going to work on some of the other things that I've got. So I have a scene in Game Night's New Champions where they are about to get to a secret prison that's been protected by an interdimensional pathway, and when they get there, there will be some good people and some bad people that are in that prison that have been captured by this nefarious organization. And I found a $5 fighter pack, and it's just awesome because it's got T-posed people that are rigged, and yeah. So like if I were to play on that now, I don't have my camera placed right. I might not be able to see. Maybe it will. Yeah, no, it doesn't see. It's okay. But if I were
just repoint your camera. Click on the camera. Just repoint him in.
Is that facing the wrong way? Do I need to turn it around? I think I do. I used to be able to have a view of the camera, and I don't know what I don't know what I've done to lose it.
Now the joy that is working with Unity.
I think I should be able to see now though. So because it's facing the right direction.
No, you just missed him. You got his hand.
Yeah. Again, this is the fun of Unity. Let me see if I can get out of that, and then. Well, and a lot of it's because the perspective. Like if I go and see.
Mm-hmm. You need to pull back to get the frame right though.
Yeah. I should be able to.
No, it's got quite a wide lens on it, so you have a look back. Now flick over and see what you got.
Yeah, I should be able to see now. Brendel, I'm sure it's just like when you're watching people at customer service and you just want to tell them you just want to do it for them. I'm sure it's nope.
No.
What did I do?
Wrong facing. I have no idea why you're also not seeing the camera deploy either. That looks suspiciously like blue is the direction you want to point at the man.
Doesn't it though? I will turn it. Yeah, that's what it is. Well, if anybody ever feels like what we're doing is just amazing and awesome, all you have to do is watch these kind of newbie mistakes and realize.
Are you using the keystrokes to jump between modifications like rotate, scale, and so forth? Or
no,
not?
I'm just using the mouse keys. I would use the keystrokes, but I don't know
them. The WERTY. They're worthy. TY. WB. Yeah, they make life so much quicker when I discovered that. I can now.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you for that. I am a keystroke guy, but Let's see.
Yeah, it was driving me crazy, right? I couldn't handle having to keep on clicking on. So, almost. Your perspective was out. He's there. He just keeps to come higher now.
Okay, so let's see if that does it. And since I saw him, I know that it didn't. Like I did.
You didn't get his animation.
Yeah, and it's just because male animator. So now, I think
Scott, are you going to do your fantasy game sometime soon?
It got pushed back a bit. Yes, I am going to do it, but it got pushed back a bit because I've gotten to the point where Tabletop Simulator will not run on my machine.
Oh,
really?
Yeah.
How come?
It just keeps crashing.
Oh, there was a new mod. There's a new version that did that. Make sure you get the latest update, and that'll put you back where you need to be.
Okay.
And if not, tell me, and I'll hook you up with the guys in the beta team because they're gathering data and fixing stuff like that.
Okay. But yeah, I'm still working on that slowly in the background. Right now, I'm just trying to shovel as much cash in my bank account as I can so I can hurry up and get that new machine.
Yeah, you need it.
I definitely need it, especially when a friend of mine might have a television deal and he wants me to do some effects for him. So
yeah, that
and that's going to pay like real money. So
yeah,
we're seeing.
Yeah.
Oh, look at those effects just coming in.
Aren't they wonderful?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think what I want to do.
They're pretty easy. I've been today. I've been playing around with particle animation work on smoke and fire. You've seen the dungeon stuff, Scott? Yeah, that I've been working on recently.
Yeah, it's gorgeous.
It's amazing. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if you can get a layer of ground fog up to people's knees.
I can easily.
Oh yeah.
You just assign zero gravity to the fog so it doesn't move.
Right.
Just sits there. One of the next animations or piece of work, the dungeon I'm in, they fundamentally, the boatman of the dead appears at one point because I'm in the undead section, and like a bunch of skeletons jump off the boat and try and drag people onto the boat. So I'm doing it all spectrally, and I've got blue mist floating around as it appears, and they're just wandering through the dungeon. And then suddenly, random roll, boom, this thing appears. Blue mist appears, then this blue spectral boat, and all these skeletons jump off and come at them. So that should work nicely.
Yeah, with that whole lights out thing, you're gonna just scare the hell out of them.
Yeah. Who realised it was so easy to win just by making it dark?
Yeah.
Well, and I'm totally jealous of it because in modern campaigns, I don't have a reason to make it dark. Like, I've used a couple of reasons, but that immersive effect you get from being in a dungeon, I don't have it. I can't do it in our like cities or
Well, no, it doesn't work for a modern city, but it does work for let's say you go to the countryside, or you go to an underground facility and Electro Man fires off a blast and blows all the lights.
Yes. Hey, do you do this? Do you have to put the particle effect in the prefab or in the actual thing you're looking at rather than in the scene? I don't think it works another way, and I don't know, Brynel, if you have that same.
That's the way I do it, but I also name all my particles in a certain way now. And I'm using code in TTS to automatically find them and create effectively a UI grid for me to turn bits on and off as I need it in game.
Oh, yeah,
so I name them all with a specific naming convention, and then I hunt through the hierarchy of objects looking for those names, pull them out, and then create switches for me to turn them on and off in game. So I right click on the dungeon and say lights room 13, and it goes click and turns the lights on.
And it does it in positioning right the way you want to? Because that's the thing that I worry about my figurines. If I want it on a figurine, I have to put it on it. I don't know a way to tell it where to put it otherwise.
No, put it in the same. Well, what you do is you create a new hierarchy, put the figure in the hierarchy, put the particle in the hierarchy, so they're both stuck within the same object. And then whenever you move that, and that's the object you build as the bundle.
Yeah.
Whenever you then move that object around, the particle and the figure travel together, if that's what you wish.
Yeah.
Like leaving smoke behind yourself as you move. You don't. The cheap way is just to embed the particle into the figure itself.
Yeah, that's what I'm
and
doing.
then you move the figure.
I'm doing the cheap way.
Yeah, but then you've got what you do want to be able to do is if you then automate that process and you go with code control on it, like fire the gun or whatever, trigger the animation. That can get a bit interesting trying to get the two to align at that point. So embedding's not bad; it works.
Yeah, that's definitely my MO right now.
One thing for Scott. Scott, most of your adventure stuff, your fantasy is going to be above ground, I assume. Typically, you don't strike me as a huge dungeon guy, or are you going full on dungeons?
It goes in both ways. Most of the abandoned dwarven cities in the east are basically urbanized dungeons. But the first adventure is basically going to be in a semi-submerged, ruined town.
Oh, I've got a nice water texture that animates slowly. Yeah, don't get me wrong; it won't do proper ripples and things. It's not that powerful, but it will run on just about any rig, right? So
yeah,
low end stuff.
But that's why I was asking about the ground fog, because it's a area with limited visibility due to the fog, and everybody's up to their knees in water.
Yeah. Can I suggest something? Why aren't you just snapping to click on the figure and then effectively put the same coords in for the particle?
That would be very smart.
Sorry.
No,
this must be like your grandmother teaching you to suck eggs. Yeah?
No, it's wonderful. So when you do it, how do you just have to type them in? Is that it?
Well, I cut and paste them. I did believe at some point I found it and then lost it again. Someone put something that allowed you to copy the coordinates, the whole strip at a go, and paste them a whole strip at a go, and then I lost it. It's a macro, and I couldn't find it again. I really need to get it back. It would make my life so much easier.
What's funny is I know what to. I've done this how many times now, and I don't know. Just old habits.
I try and line it up by eye, and then I realised actually that's just going to break my head all the time because it's all constant perspective camera change.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And now I just go, give me the numbers. I'll put the numbers in and redo it.
Yeah.
I had an interesting time today. I managed to find this beautiful scan of a bas relief of some mourners.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
And it's this massive STL file, kind of printing file, not a proper 3D file. And it was coming in about 40 meg for one object. So I managed to work on that during the day and strip it back. And then I took a high-res piece of work, did all the shading work and all the rest, captured the high-res textures, and then decimated the object down to something ridiculously small, and then the normals and the high res just went straight on top, and it looked beautiful. And I thought, thank you.
That's the way you're supposed to do it. For game assets.
Yeah, retopo. Yeah. But it worked beautifully. I was looking at it, going, "Oh, I'm so happy that worked. I'm so happy."
It looks gorgeous.
So I brought that.
Wow.
So this is still your Greek Islands game you're doing?
No. I got the Greek Islands game. I captured the assets. I've got the rules set, and then all of my bunch of players just basically jumped on me and said, "We want to play some simple dungeon stuff. We want to beat things up."
Which is exactly what happened to me.
Yeah, and I'm going, really? Really? Where's the challenge? Where's the information? Where's the fun? No, I don't want to do that Greek thing. It sounds cool, but we'll do it later. I just want to go in a dungeon and beat something up. So I cheated and I grabbed hold of an old mega dungeon called Stonehell, which is massive, absolutely massive, and then just basically started building that in 3D. Took away all the thought process about how do I build a dungeon and made it all into how do I build a 3D dungeon instead. And someone's done the layout, someone's done the design, someone's done the monsters, someone's done all of it. All I have to do is turn it into 3D. So that's what I've been doing.
Nice.
But it works fine. I mean, I'm thoroughly enjoying it. I'm learning so much doing it. It's frightening.
5e rules?
No, I'm running OSR, so you're all the way back at you're all the way back at first edition D&D.
The 3 original hardbacks, or even earlier with the little brown books.
No, you're looking at first edition now. It's slightly earlier than that. It's the blue and red books from Moldvay. So you're looking at a really old version of D&D. It's been republished recently.
It's the original little brown books, yeah.
Well, one step up from that, between the two, but only just. It was re-released recently by a guy who released something called Old School Essentials, and he basically redid it in a whole bunch of nice, proper bound books. Rewrote all the content, redid everything. It's a beautiful piece of work. It's lovely and subtle and well laid out. I mean, it's like 40 years on or whatever it is, and they've just gone and brought modern layout into it. And it's really beautiful to work with. My players just want to beat things up. There's about no interest in subtlety or campaign or backstory or any of that.
Right.
However, saying that, they've had a, pardon my French, shit ton of time. They're fun. They're just loving it. Absolutely. Someone described it, he goes, it's great. It's like playing a video game, but there's a human being controlling the enemy on the other side.
Yeah.
And they're loving the graphics. I've started to put really subtle clues in. Like I've got some of the walls, which are secret walls, have slightly different texture. So they're going around looking at all the walls now.
So they know. Clues.
But, there's clues.
You really need to showcase that. At least the assets for a tabletop simulator.
Yeah, I plan to at some point. I'm trying not to do the whole publicity thing. I'm putting out images just to keep things bubbling along because it shows Tabletop Simulator and so forth.
Yeah.
But I'm not climbing back into pushing YouTube out yet.
No. I mean, just like put all the assets together and sell it for $10 on the workshop.
Yeah, a lot of it's copyright free stuff. I can't do that. I mean, like that bas relief. It was beautiful, but it's a scan of something from a church in France, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
I don't own that. What I did think is your classic Tabletop Simulator mod. I could put that out on Tabletop Simulator easy enough, and because no one really cares on Tabletop Simulator, do they? Everything ripped off one way or another on there.
Yeah.
So what I'm trying to do is get hold of Michael Curtis, the guy who wrote the dungeon, and ask him would he be okay if I just released the maps in 3D. No content, just the maps. No, I haven't managed to reach him yet. Seems like he's dropped out of the hobby. So
possibly. I got a lot of contacts with the gray old men of the hobby because I was one of them.
Yeah, you're not that old.
486 months old as of yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Yeah. It makes me feel positively young.
Mm-hmm. But the real crying shame is there's no conventions yet in the States due to the lockdown. The lockdown's coming off probably by the end of August here.
Yeah, we're looking at June for a lockdown being off now, but I don't have a problem. I've got to be honest. I don't think I'm ever going to be going back to running it in real life.
Too much
Seriously.
Online, huh?
No, most of my friends. Well, it's for multiple reasons. Most of my friends are disparate now. They're spread all over the country. And I know it's not a big country. I'm well aware of that. You guys would class it as commuting distance, but hey ho. They're spread all over the country. I developed such awesome technology to help me run the game that going back to doing it by hand would actually be hard work.
And there are things you can do with this that I couldn't do on a real.
Correct. And that's the selling point, right? All the rest is true. I could most probably fudge some way of making all the rest work in the real world with just laptops around me. But I can't do beautifully scaled dungeons that are all coloured and shaded and high, have shadows and all the rest. I just can't do that. So I've crossed the boundary. I don't think I can go back now. So,
well, the sad thing is what it is. July 3rd is the 40th anniversary of Champions.
Oh.
And wow. So there's going to be, no conventions at that time. So nobody's going to be running. So the only thing that's going to happen is it looked like there's going to be a party for the old Hero Games employees at Steve Peterson's house in San Francisco. So I'm probably going to head down to that because San Francisco's close enough. And I can borrow my mom's car for the day. But, part of me wanted to show this all this off at a con. Grab a laptop, show it off.
Oh, it's all getting there. I mean, the technology's there. I saw the latest one released was Tailspire, and people are going, "Oh yeah, that'll be a rival to Tabletop Simulator." Until I discovered you cannot install anything into it, you can't put your own 3D objects into it, and you can't properly script it. And I immediately went, "Well, that's not much use, is it?"
No, it's not.
However,
the TV guys want me to start learning Unreal again.
Unreal.
Yeah, because well, here's the thing. You know the show The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
Okay. All of their environments are 3D. Except for a few small set pieces here and there and furniture that the actors interact with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense.
Everything else is in a drum of, I think it's like a 20 or 30 meter diameter drum of large format LED screens and with a roof on it. And sensors are hooked up to the cameras so that the camera can shift the parallax of the background to itself so that foreground and background objects match. And because they're lit LED screens, it provides its own lighting.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's
and all of that is done in Unreal Tournament. I mean, an Unreal Editor. Because the real-time environments.
That's sweet.
So they want me doing that because they're now. This means you don't need green screens or blue screens anymore, and it's really dropped the price of production because you don't need to go out on location, and you only need to build partial sets, not full sets. Now, they probably will build full sets for reusable or multi-reusable scenes, like the main character's house, that sort of thing. Or base headquarters. But everything else is being done on these drums, and they had to do that a lot of it for COVID, but it actually opened up things quite a bit. And this was the technology that Lucas was working on back during the prequel era, but it took, getting the Unreal Engine up to the state that it is now to be able to do that. All those exteriors in Disney's The Mandalorian, that's all Unreal Tournament. So that's why everybody's pushing to do Unreal now.
Yeah. Yeah, I can believe it. If Tabletopia or Table Playground or Playground Table or whatever the hell it's called actually had a UI and a decent interface ability to it that was programmable, I'd have moved my stuff over there and got it running under Unreal as well as Tabletop Simulator, right? Because Unreal's better graphics, really, when you get down to it. Having said that, though, top selling game at the moment, Valheim, Unity based, right? So they can still punch. It's just not as good as Unreal.
Everybody on YouTube's streaming Valheim right now.
Yeah, that's a good game. I played it for a while. Loved it.
Yeah,
it's solid.
I prefer,
really did.
I prefer the cardboard sounds of components coming in. I don't know if anybody else, when you bring in your figurines, what's your material that you prefer?
Yeah. For me, I go cardboard. I do not go metallic because it's that rich ting that annoys me whenever I hear it in the game.
Yeah, cardboard. Okay, here's where the magic is. Let's see. I don't think I got his...
what you got?
Yeah, he is moving. I got his animation.
Go for it.
Charging. And area pulse. That's cool. So it did it. And then I can take him back to idle.
Lovely.
Yeah.
Excellent.
That's a really it does look good, doesn't it? When you actually get it done, it just looks good.
I like it. I like the charging.
For anyone that's in...
I got to pause for a bit because the cats are wanting to be fed. So,
all right.